Hi, my name's Suzie Hayman, and I'm an agony aunt and a relationship counsellor, and my mother was a single parent. And I know very well, from all the letters that I receive from people, as well as my own situation, that Christmas can be a really tough time of the year for single parents. It's tough for all parents, actually, because you've got all the things to do, and you want to make the best time possible for your kids. For single parents, you're really under pressure because you're doing the lot. You've got a double load with no one to lean on, no one to share all those triumphs and those problems with. I mean, yes, of course, you've got family perhaps and friends, but in the deep, dark moments, the hours of Christmas Eve particularly, when everybody else perhaps is with their family, and you sink down into the sofa, all the presents are wrapped, everything's ready for the big day, and you've got nobody there to lean on, and that's when you really do need somebody. What I've done is I've come up with 10 top tips for single parents to get you through the Christmas period and beyond into 2008. And they're all on the dating site, datingforparents.com. But just sort of quickly, just to give you an idea of the sort of things I'm suggesting. Top tips like, recognise why it's so hard. In other words, it's not your fault. Anybody in your situation would actually find it tough. Anybody in a single parent situation finds it difficult. So it's not just because you're incompetent or because your kids are uniquely awful that you're finding it difficult. It's things like talking it over with your kids. I think particularly on Christmas Day, we often think, let's, not spoil it by bringing up the issue of why dad or mum isn't there anymore. Well, actually, if you don't bring it up, it's still going to be an undercurrent. And that's why you often get kids kicking off on Christmas Day, because they're miserable about something and they're not able perhaps to bring it out and talk to you about it because you're keeping quiet. So talking about it with your kids, being able to say it's not their fault, why mum and dad are no longer together, that mum and dad still love them, and how you're going to make Christmas really good. That's an important issue to actually raise. Helping kids keep in touch is really important. If the parent is still around, then if you can, you may never want to see them again, but they're your child's other parent, and they probably will. So how can you keep in touch? I've got some suggestions for doing that on the website. Planning ahead and sharing the load. I think that's a really important issue to think about. That you should be able to say to other people, I'm having a tough time, can you please help me? Don't feel that you're letting down the side and showing that you're incompetent in doing so. I think you also need to understand it's not your job to keep everybody happy. All parents often feel that really that they've got to keep their children entertained and happy all the time. It's their responsibility. Actually, it's not. Sometimes people have to look after themselves, and you should realise that that's okay. Another important issue is letting kids go. You need to let them go to see their own friends, to see other members of the family, to see their other parent if necessary. And that's often a hard thing for all parents to let their children go, particularly single parents. I think another thing to think about over Christmas is traditions, that sometimes kids want to keep the old things they've always done at Christmas. It's a way of keeping a link with the past, and you may find that hard because you want to move on. Think about that sort of thing. Tips on the website for how to do that. And I think the final and most important, no, not the final, but one of the most important, is looking after yourself. As a single parent, often you put yourself last in the list for, getting the goodies. You really do need to look after yourself. And often finding new partners, finding new friends on something like a website that caters for that sort of thing, that's really helpful. You need to be able to make new friends. You deserve it. That's something that single parents often feel, that they should be at home looking after their kids all the time and they shouldn't be out, particularly seeking for romance. You jolly well ought to. You need to look after yourself, as I said. Final tip, though, about Christmas. Don't introduce new partners on the Christmas day. That's a family time. And if you have been seeing somebody for some time, work up to doing it in next year and don't suddenly introduce a new person on the day. But as I said, all these tips are on datingforparents.com, and I hope I've done something that will help you, if you're a single parent, make that day even better.